This that no nonsense. Are the Lakers in trouble? It seems that Stephen A has finally come off that little small bandwagon. Because keep in mind, Stephen A don't quite believe in Kawhi Leonard. So he latched on to LeBron James Lakers to put Kawhi Leonard in place. In his mind. Max Kellerman obviously hopped off the LeBron James wagon and jumped on the Kawhi Leonard bandwagon. Stephen A was not a big fan of Kawhi, nor was he a big fan of Giannis. So I believe he latched on to Lakers, hoping that the Lakers will win, so that Kawhi Leonard, in his mind, doesn't get the credit he feels that Kawhi doesn't deserve. Right? So obviously, Stephen A jumps off this bandwagon because he realized, he realized it at the beginning of the season, but he wanted to stay consistent. Because like I said with Stephen A, he holds connections far higher than his own opinions, right? He can believe something with you, but if he builds a connection, he's going to flip-flop, right? That's why I call him Steven Scooby-Doo Smith. You feed him a Scooby snack, he's going to be loyal to you, right? As long as that connection holds up. But he knew that Lakers wasn't going to beat the Clippers since the first game and since Christmas. Christmas probably confirmed it for him because the Lakers and the Clippers are going to pretty much play each other to a stalemate. And he knows that LeBron doesn't have it in him to go back at Kawhi Leonard. And now adding Marcus Morris, it pushed more of a gap, right? Because the Clippers were better than the Lakers, but in my opinion, the Clippers were probably a bit better than the Lakers, right? But that's only because, like I said, the Clippers got multiple closers, right? And the Lakers have yet to have a consistent closer. So now adding Marcus Morris, who closed for the Celtics, who can be a spot-up shooter, who create his own shot and be a good defender, it pretty much created a gap. And now LeBron is going to have to, unless they get lucky in picking up somebody, right? Signing somebody, unless they get lucky, then LeBron is going to have to pick up the slack against the Clippers, which I don't see happening, right? He's too old. He's going to get worn down. So I'm providing my insight.
Will the Lakers win with the current roster that they have?
Oh, don't you dare.
Max.
No.
Come on, Stephen A.
No.
Look at Stephen A. He can't hide it anymore. He can't hide. See, Stephen A. is not a LeBron James fanboy, but keep in mind, Stephen A. do come sometimes. Stephen A. has to stroke a lot of these superstars' egos because they can be potential people who he can form connections with or to keep the connections with, right? But he's not overly saturated with LeBron James like a Shannon Sharp or a Nick Wright or a Jay Williams.
Max, Max, I'm jumping off the bandwagon, bro. I'm jumping off the.
Tell me
Max,
this is your Academy Award-winning performance right now.
Max. I was so disappointed they let Marcus Morris land with the Clippers.
Well, Lakers felt like they didn't want to take the risk. Keep in mind, you guys are raving on the Lakers regular season, but at the same time, start ragging on the Lakers front office. You can't do both of those things. You can't rave about your regular season record and then blame the front office in terms of the media, because you know you was using the regular season to pretty much boost up the Lakers, but you knew deep down that the regular season is not going to be proved as that much important when it comes, because you know your only competition is the Clippers, right? You know deep down that LeBron does not have it because the Clippers are going to be equal. They're going to play each other to a stalemate. It's going to come down to LeBron and Kawhi, and you know that they don't have it. So the fact that they got Marcus Morris, the player that you felt Lakers should have gotten, right? Then it pretty much, you can't hide it anymore, right? Now, obviously, Shannon Sharp played the I don't know how the Lakers going to win, but I'm staying with the ship. And Nick Wright is going to try to be delusional, or at least try to form scenarios in his head of how the Lakers can still beat the Clippers, right? But if you know the game of basketball, if you watch the game of basketball, and you can see the way the Lakers match up, the Lakers need LeBron to play extraordinarily well to get space to his shooters because in the LeBron James system, he's the planet, everybody else is the moons. But when the planet's not there, those moons fall out of orbit. This is why when he sits down, that offense falls apart. So when he wants another ball handler, he says two things. I need a closer, or I need someone that can do what I do, right? The reason why LeBron likes this planet and moon orbit around type offense is because he gets to be Superman, right? And still look like the planet while everybody else is the moon. This is what he chooses to do. This is why I don't feel sorry for him when guys say, oh man, he has to do a lot. No, this is what he has chosen. Because he's allowed to get his stats and also win with this system. But like I've always said, he's going to face a team that's going to neutralize that system, right? And it's going to force LeBron to be offensively skilled. In this system that LeBron likes to run, LeBron gets to roam in a free space, and he's going to attract double teams, right? Or he's going to roam in a free space knowing that the rim protector is taken out of the pretty much the paint. Against the Clippers, they force him to play offensively skilled. He can't use his athleticism as much, and he is older. Right? They don't have enough ball handlers against the Clippers. The Clippers have multiple closers. And two potential closers now in Marcus Morris and Paul George.
Let me tell you something right now. All year long, the Clippers have privately said this, and you know I've told you this off the air, Max, on numerous occasions. The Clippers have said, Stephen A., we got 5 dogs. I don't know if they got one. That's what they said about the Lakers. They said that the Lakers have superstar talent in LeBron and Anthony Davis. We had Anthony Davis on this show where, Max, you heard me ask him a question about people questioning his toughness, which he said he was aware of, and that's why he was working diligently in the weight room and beyond in the off season to get himself prepared for this year. We've seen him go down, get slapped in the face, miss games, etc., knicks-snacks here. We get all of that. Clippers are rough riders, man. And I still held on to the Lakers because LeBron James, my MVP candidate, go show up.
That's the only reason to hold on to it, right? It's to promote LeBron James and the Lakers. That's the only way you can hold on to it. You guys have this faith that LeBron James is like God. He will make a way, right? It's just not going to happen. This is the West. This is not the East. LeBron said, I can come in 3rd seed, 4th seed, sunflower seed. Because he knew there was nobody in the East, superstar-wise, that can beat him. But he knows in the West, there are superstars that can outmatch him. So he needs to have a team. So his team should be better than everybody else in the West, except the Clippers. But before the Marcus Morris trade, their teams were equally to me. But the reason why they were equal, but the reason why the Clippers were better is because I knew that the Clippers have better closers. Right? So now that Marcus Morris adds another gap, the Clippers' problem is going to come to continuity and chemistry. But if they're healthy and they get those continuity and chemistry together, then I just don't see how the Lakers going to be able to beat them. Right? But the Clippers love to have this underdog mentality, right? If you can create a psychological edge that can motivate you and it can help you, then that's fine. But if you go too far with this psychological edge, then you become delusional. Because the fact of the matter is, Clippers are not underdogs anymore. They play better when they feel they're underdogs, right? But if they can still acknowledge who they are and create a psychological edge, such as guys slandering them, making them feel slightly like underdogs to play better, then that's fine. They can't fall too much in that because it's going to make them delusional, right?
Go show what? 2 games he didn't show up was what, Max?
Kawhi Leonard.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then now what do you do if you're the Clippers? You need help on the interior because you can't leave everything to Harold. You can't leave everything to Montrezl Harrell, okay?
Right.
He's got to get some help. You don't have so much faith in Zubac. He's young. He's got promise, but you don't believe in him yet. And what do you go out and get? You go out and get a dog. And Marcus Morris, who, by the way, was averaging 19.6 points for the Knicks, shooting 43.9% from three-point range. So you got another three-point shooter who can also guard in the interior, who's an extra body big enough at 6'8", 6'9", about 240, 250. We know what him and his brother did to the dude that messed with their mama. You know, these are rough riders here. You understand? And by the way, that is not an insult. I applaud both of them. I got love for both of those brothers because of that. But let's understand, these brothers are...
They some per goons, man. They some gangsters. They goons. Marcus Morris say, I got another dog in Hollywood. See, that's the problem with the Lakers, man. They're like that fighter. They're so elegant. They take care of their hair. They smell well. And then you have another good fighter that comes from the street. It's going to be like Apollo Creed versus Rocky. Right? And the Lakers are like Apollo Creed. And the Clippers are like Rocky.
Rough Riders. And so when you got it like that, plus you can shoot the three, plus you add it to the Clippers, and the Lakers did nothing before the trading deadline. I held out hope, Max, that they were going to at least get Collison. Because obviously when LeBron James is in the game, the offense is elite because the pick and roll, he's a threat with the ball, and Vogel runs his offense. But without LeBron James on the floor, they have no guard to run their offense in pick and roll situations with Anthony Davis. How am I supposed to believe in them now?
Well, don't use this as a detrimental towards the Lakers front office. Keep in mind, you can't talk about how good the regular season, their record is, and then turn around and try to blame the front office. Y'all resigned Rondo, by the way, but y'all know that the only way for LeBron to play, which y'all admitted, is around shooters. But the con to that is they can't do anything else. They have to shoot and defend. They're not playmakers. Keep in mind, they chose to trade Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram had the same value as Kyle Kuzma at the time. Y'all kept Kyle because Kyle was supposedly can fit around LeBron because he can shoot the three better. So y'all chose not to go after these ball handlers because y'all know that LeBron needs space to operate in. But the downside to it is these guys can't create their own shot. Like I said, it's a planet and everybody else are moons.
I'm worried, Max. I'm not saying they're gonna lose. They can win, but the same confidence that I had, Max, is gone.
So wait, I want to get this. I want you on the record. Are you on their bandwagon or off? You picked the Lakers to start the year. You still picking them?
I plead the fifth.
Of course you plead the fifth. You plead the fifth at the beginning of the season. And then when you saw the Christmas game, you knew it was over. Right?
I plead the fifth, man. I plead the fifth. Max, I can't pick him right now. I can't pick him right now. I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this man has perjured himself. You started the year. Hold up. I sat here before the year started when Kawhi Leonard, the best player in basketball, like the freak towers above the league, LeBron's doing amazing things, but when the games matter, Kawhi has their hearts, all of them. He snatches it. He stops them on defense. He scores on them on offense, and his team wins. I told you, wherever Kawhi goes, they win the chip.
Well, see, this is why Max Kellerman is a bandwagon. The problem that I have with these bandwagon and these sports and these fanboyism is, like I said with the liberals, they try to, and like I said when I talk about the liberals, I'm not a Republican. It's just me talking about the two political parties in general, but more so the Democrats and liberals because that's what the sports media are. They're liberals. That they're trying to promote fanboyism because they want you to connect them with your lifestyle so you can mimic them, and so they can pretty much control you through the player that you idolize. They teach you how to be idolaters. That's pretty much what they do. So they say crap like how one player can do everything, and whenever a team fails, it's not that star player's fault. That's where you have a lot of sports debates. These sports debates, when you argue any superstar, it's always the star's credit when he wins, but when he loses, it's somebody else's fault, right? You see this with LeBron, and you see this with a lot of other superstars in the league, right? So, you know, he's just doing his fanboyism type thing where he comes out and say, man, Kawhi is the reason for all of this. That's fine. Kawhi could have went to a team, right, that wasn't as deep as the Clippers and would have not been favorites because Kawhi is not an elevator. He does not elevate. Kawhi is like He's pretty much is a guy that can outplay any superstar in the league, but he has to have the right team around him, right? He like, you got my back, cause I'm gonna take them down. Just have my back. That's the type of superstar Kawhi is. His style of play pretty much produces the more championships. An elevator tends to wear down, right? I did this when I compared him to Luka. Luka's more of an elevator. Kawhi is that guy. He has to have a ready-made team, and that team is going to do their job. And it's probably going to come to a stalemate. And Kawhi is going to outperform that superstar, or at least have the potential to. But when you engage in this fanboyism, you're going to talk how Kawhi is the sun and the moon. He's the alpha and omega. You're pretty much saying that he does everything, and that's not how it works. And if you try to turn into that type of debate, even so, Kawhi is not even the right player for that.
If he would have stayed in Toronto, hold up, Toronto right now is second in the East.
And I agree with that. If he would have stayed in Toronto, they would have been favorites out there in the East. But that's because you see how deep Toronto is, right? So there you go for destroying your little argument. I'm going to hear it more, right? Because I feel like you're just trying to turn it into a Kawhi thing. But when you say about how he goes to any team and turns them into contenders and chose Toronto, being that Toronto is the number 2 seed in the East. So I feel like that type of example just kind of, destroyed your little argument to get people to idolize Kawhi. So let's hear what else you got to say.
Brother, how would they be with Kawhi Leonard and they don't lose anything? They keep the team and add Kawhi. They'd be favored. He went to the Clippers. They're favored. Told you before the season. I'm not trying to hear your Patrick Beverly excuses after the fact. The coaching excuses, trade deadline excuses.
Keep in mind the coaching excuses and the narrative around Doc Rivers was he was a good coach. He was an overrated coach, and now he's a good coach again.
Kawhi's going to win in the end because he's the best player in basketball. He's
not
a
the
half
best player in
step
basketball.
below the very best when it matters least.
Well, Giannis is the best player in basketball currently, but Kawhi can possibly become the best player in basketball, right? And usually it changes. I might pick Kawhi, but I might pick Giannis, but Giannis is doing it more consistently. But Giannis, like I said, Kawhi, like I said. Kawhi has a deep team. He's allowed to low manage. You look at it, Giannis. Giannis can't low manage as much as Kawhi. Luka Doncic can't low manage as much as Kawhi. You see how the Dallas Mavericks is falling down in the standings, right? Simply because Kawhi has a complete team, right? But this is why I favor Kawhi over LeBron. Kawhi don't come across problems that LeBron come across in terms of missing a ball handler. Because as you can see, Kawhi lets his team play system ball, and then when it comes time for a superstar to shine, then Kawhi Leonard shines. San Antonio taught him to play in the system and be a superstar at the same time. A lot of superstars can't play in the system. They can only be superstars.
And he's a step ahead of everyone when it matters most. Look, Stephen A., before the season, I told you, that's a 48-win team. They're just dropping Paul George and Kawhi Leonard into a 48-win team, and they got Marcus Morris. Now, I agree with you about the Dogs, but you knew that before the season started.
That's right.
If there's a non-defensive player who in the NBA you could say that's a dog, it's Lou Will. That dude, Lou Williams, even though he's not like known, he's an offensive player, but the way he plays offense is even like that. Patrick Beverly, now Marcus Morris to go with the superstars. Thanks.
Well, that's it. Well, if you like this video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and this ain't no nonsense.